What up, Dynasty players in the house? It's the Dynasty front office, part of the Dynasty Warzone network. Please like and subscribe. 5-star review, if you would be so kind. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman, and I'm here with three of my best friends, the best friends anyone has ever had. Major Mike Casper, since you're dying to talk on camera, how are you tonight?
Oh, Jesse, I'm doing great. It is great to be here. Great to talk some Dynasty.
I think I'm going to turn your camera. I'm going to turn your picture off next time I do the opening.
No, I love mocking you, Jesse. It was good. You know I have to sub for you when you're not here, so I just got to get some practice in.
Yeah, actually, you did a great job with that. All right, and the auspicious Austin Bell. How are you tonight, Austin?
I'm lovely, man. Off season's here. Rookie stuff's coming. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm only 5'10". You're gigantic tonight.
So what I'm hearing is you're average.
I'm pretty average.
Yeah.
And my main man, Chad Mendoza. How you doing tonight, Chad?
Austin is fully clothed, so you're tracking.
Yeah.
I need you to never tell Austin that he's checking.
Yeah. I've never heard that before, so it's nice to finally hear it, but it was a little odd on camera.
You're the
I literally just
Dynasty
found this
player.
out before we started.
You're gigantic tonight, Austin.
Austin's like 6'5". Changes my whole perspective. I thought you were just average like me. All right, guys. Good times.
Ooh.
All right, so as promised, every week we're going to be bringing you a new rookie profile. So the rookie profile of the week this week is Tet. Mike, how do you say that name?
Tatoria McMillan.
McMillan.
Oh,
Thank you. And that's how we're officially going to pronounce his name. Austin, take it away.
Yeah. So I want to start by I spent 10 minutes practicing his first name, including looking up him saying it. I still don't have any confidence. So it's Tet McMillan or T-Mac, which is what he goes by pretty much everywhere.
Oh, he likes T-Mac over Tet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what he goes by. He's a true junior. 6'5", 212 is what ESPN has him listed at. He's in simplest terms, NFL, I would say a Drake London, T. Higgins type receiver. Not elite separators, excellent at the catch point. His catch radius is ridiculous, but does still have some pretty decent top end speed to pull away and get some yards after the catch. Really fun receiver. His highlight reels are ridiculous. Heck, you can watch one game, certain games this year, and you can have a whole highlight reel. Fun player, should be most people's wide receiver one, but and I'm assuming pretty much locked for a top 10 pick in my opinion.
Yeah, I really like him. He's huge. So when you say he's T. Higgins or Drake London type, but he's bigger than both of those guys. But he moves. I'd say T. Higgins probably the smoothest out of all those big guys, and he moves like that. So he does get separation. I watched them all 22 on him. I think I watched 2 games. I'm not to the point where I'm like watching them in detail and taking notes yet. That'll be in about a month. But initial impression, really good, man. Guy's strong at the catch point. Like I said, get separation. There were a couple times when when he got to the top of his route, I expected to do one thing and he didn't. And as a result, didn't get the separation I expected him to. So just a little juke here and there, or there were specific times where it looked like he slowed down out of his break. And I don't know if that's because of a timing thing with the quarterback or what the play was. I'm not in that room, but it just looked odd to me because it looked like he allowed the defender to catch up to him.
The biggest negative, sorry. I thought you were
go ahead.
The biggest negative I had for him is his route tempo.
Okay, right on.
Similar to what you're saying, I didn't like either he struggled with tempo or was using the wrong tempo in and out of routes a lot. So that would be my one thing, but that's relatively easy for a wide receiver coach to teach as long as he goes to a decent organization. Otherwise, man, his hands are insane.
Yeah.
And catch radius, if the ball's near him, I feel like he's going to win the battle.
Chad, where do you have him right now?
Far and away number one for me.
Yep.
You know, he's probably my favorite player in the class, to be honest with you. I absolutely love him. I think I think he's going to be even better at the next level than he was in college. I think he has all the tools. Some things just need to be refined. But as far as like, you know, God-given gifts, I mean, he's got all of them. And maybe you can make an argument about his you know, high-end speed not being there, but I think he's fast enough. He's good enough in open space. I don't think he's just a big guy, which you know, when somebody sees somebody that's 6'5", 6'6", that's what they're going to peg him as. I think he's a complete wide receiver. I'm really, really like him.
I think he's a good route runner as well. He just needs a little, like you said, refinement. If he can learn to manipulate a little more at the top of his route, I think he'll just be amazing.
Where do you guys think? I'm not super plugged in, but where do you think he's going to go in the actual draft?
Top 10.
Top 10, you think?
Yeah, I think it's almost a lock at this point. I would almost venture to say top 5, but that's a little too risky for a receiver. But with this class at the top end talent, I definitely think top 5's a decent shot.
So we're talking 10 going down to Chicago, New Orleans, Carolina, Jets, Vegas, Jacksonville. Do you really just want him in Carolina? Or
I would absolutely love it. But my number one guess is New England. I'm trying to pull up Mike Vrabel in his opening press conference, basically explained Ted McMillan as to what they needed on offense. I'm talking like they were like big receivers who can catch the ball, make plays after. Like it was basically describing them.
Interesting.
So I think that would be the most realistic, assuming they don't go get T. Higgins, because that also describes T. Higgins.
Yeah.
They could do both.
Yeah, they absolutely could. They have the cap for it.
And
but they need O-line really bad. Yeah, so I would prefer them to do one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think New England would be an awesome spot with Drake May.
And what's their pick? 8th?
No, 4.
They're 4. Panthers are 8.
Panthers are okay. Gotcha. And the Giants are 3.
Yeah, I would say that is a possibility. If the quarterbacks go 1 and 2, the top 2 quarterbacks go 1 and 2, and the Giants bring in a vet, I think that's where they go as wide receiver.
Wow.
Again, 2 drafts in a row.
They've got nobody else. They've got a bunch of gadget guys.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun room.
They've showed, if this year showed anything, it's 1, that Malik is really good. Malik Neighbors is really good. But 2, if Malik Neighbors is not really good, then there's nobody else that's doing what he's even close to what he's doing. It's Malik Neighbors or bust, essentially.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they won't push their chips in on this class. Yeah, I absolutely should address other needs and bring in a vet, bridge, whatever. Go after a guy next year.
Pressure burst pipes, though, so we'll see how they react to that pressure. The pressure, they could react to it and say, no, we need to bring in a rookie guy, rookie quarterback to give us more time, and maybe that's the safer option. But they could also say, hey, we need a veteran presence in the room. Let's bring in a vet, get our record up a little bit, bring in another position player that is extremely talented. I would say Pro Bowl level caliber player in Tet and running out there with Malik Neighbors and Tet, on offense is a pretty scary combination.
Yeah, another season like this and that entire regime's gone.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. We did a rookie mock draft. No, we did a startup mock draft. It's not really startup season, but I mean, it's January. It's cold where I am. We're on the East Coast, man. It's cold as hell here. We need something.
It is cold.
We needed something to do. So we got together some listeners and some DWZ Patreons, and we did a 12-team super flex. What was 0.5 premium rookie mock or startup mock draft?
Yeah, figured it's a good way to kind of get some values at the end of a season, where plateaus, rankings, tiers have all changed for people over these last 3 or 4 months. So I figured it'd be a cool way to see where these tiers go when all the players involved, especially since we've just done our rankings the last episodes. kind of cool to see where, we viewed QB8 compared to QB15 and how far different they were.
Yeah. There was a couple of times where I was remembering what I said during my ranking show, and I was looking at stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to stick to my guns on what I said, even though this looks like a good value, man."
I looked at my rankings a couple of times to make sure I was on brand, but I mean, I was actually. There's really no. I mean, we only did top 12s, so after the first couple rounds, that's kind of all gone anyway.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go through first round, Austin?
Yeah, sure.
Or Mike?
Yeah, let's start with Mike since you can give us round one.
Yeah,
since
sure.
You had the first pick.
I started off round 101, Josh Allen. Nate took Jalen Hurts at 2. Dallas took Lamar at 3. Burrow went to the Bengals fan, Watsonberger at 4. Daniels at 5. And then Mahomes at 6. So first 6 picks, all QBs, went to Jesse there. Chad was the first one to not go quarterback, went Justin Jefferson. And then Matt Vip took Jamar Chase, then Lamb to C. Stroud. Nate took Herbert back to the QBs. And then Austin took Brock Bowers, the 111. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, 112 to finish up the first round there.
I was really surprised.
Roast me, Jesse. Roast me.
Well, I was really surprised that Mahomes was who I got at 106. I knew I was going to get a good quarterback, top 2 tiers. I didn't think I was going to get a tier 1 quarterback at 106. And Hurts at 102.
Hurts at 102 is the one that surprised me. Yeah,
it was surprising.
Yeah. Honestly, the top 6 went the exact players I expected, and Mahomes at 6 is where I have him as well. So I thought it would fit right on.
You were the low one on Mahomes with all of us, though.
Yeah.
So the number 1 position player in Dynasty Fantasy Football is Justin Jefferson. We're all agreed there?
We do.
Nobody would have been tempted to take Jamar Chase?
Nope.
No.
Okay. I have no argument there. It's fine. I have issues with Bowers in the first round.
Come on, kill me. Go ahead.
I just wouldn't take a tight end in the first round. You see what happened with Laporta last year.
Why didn't you say McBride?
What's that?
Why didn't you say McBride?
What do you mean?
Because he dominated. He was my tight end 1 last offseason and still looked really
I'm
good,
just saying we saw what happened with Laporta being tight end 1 coming out of last year and then losing tons of value.
I mean, we saw the same thing with CJ Stroud, so why not say anything about Jaden Daniels?
Okay. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is definitely risky where he went to. I agree.
Yeah. I'll give my thought process. So at 11, knowing I have a pick and 2 more picks, the top 7 clear quarterbacks for me were gone. The top 3 wide receivers were gone. And I hate running backs, which I'm going to counteract that statement here shortly. But so for me, the top skill position player was Brock Bowers. I didn't want to reach on one of this next tier of quarterbacks yet. And so I just gave it a shot. I wanted to see how it went. I would have preferred to take him at 2-2 just to make it look prettier. But that being said, the guy that had the 112 instantly messaged me and said, "You SOB. Can't believe you took him. For sure thought I was going to get him." And the guy at 110 also messaged and said, "Wow, I can't believe he didn't make it back." So, I guess it's right in line to where people are viewing him. And
I mean, it's
just a difference maker. I mean, it's plain and simple.
Okay. But it's at the expense of a core position. Which I don't consider tight end a core position. I consider it something to it's great. It's great. It's really nice if you have a top 2 tight end, but I don't think it's a necessity on a championship team.
I think it is, personally. Yeah. But I also think that the difference between Laporta and Bowers is that Bowers is just a better player. For me personally, Laporta, I liked Laporta coming out. For me, it still just came out of nowhere. I think Laporta is a really good player. I think a lot of that was scheme his rookie year as far as production goes. I think Bowers is just a I mean, he's an alien. I mean, he's a really, really good player. I think he's like Kittle-esque, Kelsey-esque talent level. I'm excited to see where he goes. I don't have any issue with the pick at all.
Okay. Yeah, I do think I'm in the minority thinking that, but I mean, maybe I'm just bigoted against tight ends. I don't know. It's funny because Austin always says that I love tight ends so much.
Yeah. I've had the personal experience as to why. So
I just like to, I like to hoard them because I don't trust any of them. So I like to have like 4 or 5 that I can go to, I guess.
it's fair. I got beat by a team that had started 5 tight ends in the championship.
Dang.
Yeah, it sucked. My roster was just gorgeous. Like, it was a beautiful, well-built championship roster, and he had 5 tight ends who all scored well in the championship and beat me. So it's just how it works sometimes.
All right. Well, we've got the draft up on the screen.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Even better.
Yeah,
So
good
yeah,
job.
round 2 starts with Puka, and then Bijan went. I took Bijan at 2-2, and then Malik Neighbors, C.J. Stroud, Nico, Chad took Marvin Harrison Jr., Jesse took Drake May, and then A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall, and Mike finished it up with Jordan Love. Any big surprises, thoughts, craziness there?
Taylor at the 210.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Jonathan Taylor. I kind of didn't like that. Like right after Gibbs, I think was kind of alarming to me.
I don't mind it. I mean, if you have a problem with that, then I have him above Brees Hall.
You have
Brees
JT
Hall,
above Brees? Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
do. That's right. You had him low. I forgot.
So I mean, if you don't have a problem with Brees Hall there, then JT is fine.
I like HM more than
Yeah, easily. It's a
with the
yeah.
receiving upside. Assuming PPR.
I don't like the rookie wide receivers in this round, personally. I love Neighbors, but so many questions. I mean, if you see Garrett Wilson going a full round later, I mean, I don't know. It seems too high to me at 203.
sick.
And then
Talking about Harrison is 206.
yeah,
Which,
I have a problem with that. I'm sorry, Chad, but to me, it's just way too risky to have your number 1 wide receiver. Or well, I guess
number
it's your number 2 wide
Number
receiver, but
2,
that's your
yeah.
number 2 player on your team. I mean, you definitely made up for it later in your draft, but that's very risky. If you super believe in this guy, I get it, but
I mean, super believe in him. Yeah, he's one of the most talented players to come out, or wide receivers to come out of college in some time.
But he didn't look it this year.
He looked fine. I mean, it was a struggling offense.
Mhm.
It's one of those things. I mean, I think people are forgetting how difficult the position is to come out and break out year one. Everybody just expects it now, right? But it's not it's not going to be every super talented player. You got to trust in what you've seen. And it's not like he went and stunk it out in N'Keal Harry style. He looked good, especially in batches. It was just a struggling offense struggled in all facets of offense.
What's going to change in that offense this year?
What do you mean? What's going to change?
Why did they?
You have an all pro caliber player in Harrison with a second year in an offense with a second year in the NFL. I mean, that's a huge change.
Okay.
It's fundamentally
the quarterback's
different than
the
it is year
same.
one.
The coaching's going to be the same.
Yeah, but you have another year together, right? You have a player in the second year of his NFL career. I mean, that's a major difference. Can't just say like everything's the same when the player in his first year is by all definitions a rookie, right? That is a major change.
Okay.
Well, I think it's good for stuff to stay the same. For them to get better in the offense. I mean, look at the Lions from last year to this year. It's good things stayed the same. That Ben Johnson stayed there. That everybody else that was there. Like nothing crazy really happened in their offense, and it got better, arguably. So
So
Drake London, wide receiver 36, then wide receiver 39. This year, finally getting his breakout and looking like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. It takes time. You got to trust in what you're seeing with these players. Marvin Harrison is an elite prospect. I mean, elite prospect.
okay. Now I was just playing devil's advocate with you. In truth, I had the same conversation with Memphis last week when I was on his show. And I had your side, Chad. I said the exact same things that you said. I was just feeding you a couple lines that Memphis threw out there just to play devil's advocate. And I actually agree with you, Chad. I just think that second round is too high for me to make that bet. I'd have rather had AJ Brown or JSN just as a safer route.
JSN, what makes JSN so safe
Actually,
compared to Marvin Harrison?
Well, no, you're right about that. Let's just stick with AJ Brown.
Oh, that's not even close for me. I was going to say AJ Brown is the mistake of this round.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough round. I mean, I have a problem with my own pick. I took Drake May in the middle of this round. I mean, when you look at where all the other quarterbacks went, I could have waited 2 rounds and gotten a quarterback. No problem. So it takes an elite player an elite wide receiver off my roster.
Yeah, I get that thought, but you also don't know. That's the thing about the second round with quarterbacks and superflex drafts is you can have 10 go in between the second and third round, or like it did this time where 10 went in the 4th and 5th round. You just don't ever know that. And to me, you took the guy that you felt was at the top of that tier, hoping that more would go, and they just happened not to this time.
Well, different tier, actually. Herbert and May are just at the end of a tier by themselves, and then it's a big drop off for me.
Oh, then it sounds like you nailed your pick.
Maybe,
but
depends on what happens next year. You know,
AJ Brown above Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas, Drake London, and JSN to me is pretty crazy. That's the pick to me.
Garrett Wilson, he's in the next round, but yeah, so late. And Drake London, Brian Thomas. Yeah. And you know, I argued again with Memphis that JSN probably won't repeat his season from last year. And then he's actually a pretty good sell because he's finished wide receiver 8 in a DK down year with a new offensive coordinator coming in. I wouldn't bet on that repeating. Oh, and their offensive line was shit, so they had to do the quick pass to JSN on a constant basis. That's what was open. That's why it's a down year for DK. You can't count on that happening again.
Timothy in the chat brings up an interesting point I've seen people talking negatively towards Marvin about is Trey McBride being a target hog. I looked up MHJ's stats. I mean, he had 116 targets. He just only caught 62 of them. Still had almost 900 yards and 8 touchdowns. I would assume the chemistry between him and Kyler gets better after an offseason together. So let's say he pulls the same number, 120, and he goes for 80 and 1,100. Everybody's going to be happy they have him. So I don't really see the target hog. I mean, we see plenty of NFL offenses that can handle 2 guys being 120 target plus.
I think there's too much of we want the end product immediately. You look at Trey McBride, right? And you can call him a target hog all you want because we saw this past season him get 147 targets. The year before, he got 106. His first full year in the offense, right? So what happens the next year? His targets increase because he has another full year in the offense. So what's to say the same can't happen for Marvin Harrison? He's got 100 and something targets, more than Trey McBride had last season. Why can't that go up? So what I'm saying is, like, we can't just say this is what's happening right now. Therefore, that's the smart move to make. There has to be some projection involved.
Another thing I'll bring up is if you look at Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rookie stats next to Marvin Harrison Sr.'s, they're almost identical. Yeah,
they're within like a couple yards and like 2 catches the difference.
Right. So, and he is playing the most difficult wide receiver position. Like, they didn't move him around much. He's mainly outside X trying to beat press coverage.
Yep.
So hopefully things get a little more creative for him next year. He takes a jump. And Chad has a good team, I guess.
Well, that's inevitable. But
Yeah. Okay.
So for round 3, we did the third round reversal, which to me should be standard in Superflex drafts, but that's a different discussion. So it went back to the guy who had pick 12 for the 3-1, and that he took Caleb Williams. At 3-2, I took Garrett Wilson, and then 3-3 was Trey McBride. 3-4, Sam Laporta. 3-5, Brian Thomas Jr. 3-6, Chad took Drake London. 3-7, Jesse took Saquon Barkley, Homer. 3-8 was Lad McConkey. 3-9 was Jackson Smith and Jigba. 3-10, Josh Jacobs. 3-11, Kyron Williams. And 3-12, Mike got a steal and Devin A. Chain.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't see Brian Thomas. I probably should have taken him at the 212.
Yeah.
I just totally didn't see him down. He was way down the list. And I love Brian Thomas, so I probably would have taken him over Love.
I will say Sleeper having the ADP from the beginning of the year. Yeah.
Beginning of last year, yeah.
Beginning of last year. That's really it made it hard to find guys.
You guys are on a podcast. Know your rankings.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I don't know if I was on the wide receiver show.
Probably not.
I was at my real job trying to scroll through my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, this is two of the best values in the entire draft is Brian Thomas at 3.5 and Devin A. Chain at 3.12. Especially looking at the names that went in front of him at the position. I think those are two of the best values in the draft.
I will say that I think Garrett Wilson should have gone ahead of Breece Hall. I think that's a no-brainer to me.
I mean, easily Jonathan Taylor as well, in my opinion. But
yeah, yes,
and AJ Brown.
But if I'm gonna, all right, I don't. But if I'm gonna take a jet, I'm gonna take Garrett Wilson. That's kind of argument.
You're lower on Breece than I am, so I don't have an issue with it. In a start 2 RB league, getting who you view as a clear RB1 is a very important thing. So I don't really have a problem there.
Garrett Wilson's a value. I didn't like Laporta in this round. I'd have waited.
He wasn't going to get
I get it. He wouldn't go.
Yeah, you're going to be stuck looking at, assuming Laporta goes and then Kittle goes, you're then looking at.
Hawk went 3 rounds later, and I think he could have similar production or better production than Laporta. Laporta scares the shit out of me.
Okay,
he could disappear for stretches. If Ben Johnson leaves, who the hell knows what that looks like? Laporta is very scary to me.
Gotcha.
For an ancillary weapon in an offense that, if it takes any kind of step back, can't support all of those weapons. 4 other guys, they're preferred over him.
Yeah, he had an odd season, so curious to see if he bounces back more towards what we saw year 1, or the targets were not cut in half, but pretty close to it. So
I think it's just going to be a lot of matchup based. If they match up well against tight ends who they're playing, if they don't, then you won't see Laporta for a while. That's my concern. I don't know that. I'm not saying that's a fact.
Mike's taking over and just showing how good he is.
Oh, sorry. No, I was looking at. Sorry, Timothy had the question about: do you think it benefit Miami to add back to support Achane?
Well, they already did.
I was trying to remember the rookie that they drafted,
Jalen Wright.
Yeah, he was just injured most of the season, so.
But no, he just really wasn't getting run. They still have Mostert.
Yeah. It doesn't scare. As long as they don't go sign somebody crazy or draft a guy in round 1 or 2. Achane's such a dynamic piece. They're not going to keep him off the field.
They ran their offense through him at the end of the year, middle to the end of the year, really.
It's kind of Jahmyr Gibbs light
Achane
to me.
Even more so than Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Achane probably needs less run than any other running back in the NFL to get production out of.
Agreed.
He could almost be at a 50% snap percentage and still give you a top 12 running back week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's alarming when Tua wasn't in there. That was the big concern, but
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
yeah, exactly.
You got to assume they get some kind of backup that can run a capable offense. You have to assume that. I mean, at least competent. It doesn't have to look like Tua, but got to be able to run an offense of some sort.
What do you guys think about Ladd McConkey ahead of? I mean, not only the other wide receivers like JSN, but like the quarterbacks. Like,
It's aggressive.
yeah, I thought it was interesting for me.
I
like Ladd, but I don't know.
What do you think, Chad? You're the highest on him. So do you think that's good value there, or is it a little early for you?
I like him right there. I mean, I like him right there, to be honest with you. I think he's right. He's right. You can swap him and Jackson and Jigba, whoever you like better. But I think most people are going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba first. But I've got no problem with Ladd there. I mean, I think he's right in that range. If I was looking for a wide receiver, it's one of those two coming up next. So
yeah, that's fair.
And I'd rather have Ladd than Josh Jacobs. I'd rather have him than. I mean, Achan's probably in a little bit of a different situation because I think he just fell for some reason. But some of the other wide receivers coming up, I much rather have Ladd than those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it did fall off a cliff actually after that.
Yeah.
That's Well, I guess we can go through round 4, but that's why I took a running back in round 4 because I just didn't see a wide receiver I liked.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do round 4, Jesse. Yeah, so round 4 started with me taking Bo Nix, then George Kittle, James Cook, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff. Jesse took Bucky Irving, first rookie running back off the board in the 4-6. Then Chad went Purdy, Mayfield went Lawrence at the 409, Olave at the 410. Austin took his boy Bryce Young at the 411 before Dak Prescott went to 412. So we finally got back into the quarterbacks with 8 going in this round. So
huge value there for quarterbacks in that round.
Yeah. For me, I kind of knew I was taking the quarterback after I saw only one going in the last round, and I had to put my boy Bo. I was debating between him and Kyler, but
third quarterback. You took your third quarterback in the 4th round, huh?
Yeah, it's just nobody at any of the other positions were like number one, like value wise. I like to value draft, but
yeah. So would you look to trade one of those quarterbacks
position
later on?
Maybe. I mean, sure, but
actually, I've seen you.
I always have injuries too. So
yeah, I've seen you hoard 3 elite quarterbacks. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I like to get 2 elite no matter what on every team.
Right on.
If not 3.
Yeah, but even if it costs you at other positions.
I've won quite a few championships building that way the past 2 years. So
okay, right on.
it works.
Oh,
yeah, elite QBs are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Timmy's asking about Bryce.
Yeah, my man. Get to talk about him.
He's probably on the wrong show.
On the right show. We got 2 brilliant minds here to talk about Bryce and then one old guy.
So, answer his question. Is the Bryce improvement here to stay? Is there now a rushing floor for him?
Yeah, I mean, you watch him at Bama. That's how he played.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't Lamar, but he ran more than majority of college quarterbacks did. So I don't see why not. He looked really good on the ground. I don't see why that wouldn't be some kind of – he should be able to be started as a QB2 going forward. What that entails, I don't know. But he should be a QB2.
Yeah, for me, he's a comfortable QB2. I'm happy if I got Bryce at QB2. I really like the upside with him. Everybody knows by now, unless it's your first time listening. I think Bryce. I think the world of Bryce. I think he's a great player, or great prospect. It's yet to be seen if he'll be a great NFL player. But Bryce, it always annoyed me how people ignored his rushing capabilities, especially, from an efficiency standpoint. When something's not there, being able to find the open space. I think it's because he doesn't really extend runs. He takes what's given and then gets down or gets out of bounds, and you'll never see him taking a hit. But I mean, that's a good thing in my eyes. So if that's the way he's going to play his game, just take what's there. I think he can get really far if they put some talent around him.
I mean, he had 6 rushing touchdowns this year.
Mike, as the middle guy on Bryce, what do you think of him at the 4.11, or compared to the other quarterbacks that went around him?
I mean, compared to who went around him, I think it's fine. Like I preferred pretty much all the quarterbacks before him. Like him and Lawrence actually is kind of a toss up for me. I might prefer Bryce in that situation. Call me crazy, but we saw Baker put up pretty elite numbers. Kyler and Goff do pretty regularly as well. So he's right below the mid-tier. So I definitely think it's fair.
As the low guy on Bryce, I think it's fine. I like him better than I like Dak. Dak seems. I mean, Dak's 30 and coming off a couple injured seasons. And
what about Tua though? Tua went 4 picks later.
Oh yeah, I'd rather have Tua. I mean, Tua's a legit top 12 quarterback. Like he's going to be a back end QB1 when he's in there. But there's huge injury concerns about Tua, so I can't say that that's not there. And Austin has said in the past that that's just a no-go for him. He's just not taking Tua there. So I understand the pick, and I don't have any problems with it, actually. Between Bryce and Trevor, assuming the talent is even, which I don't know, Trevor might have more physical talent, and they both might have both have kind of head issues at this point. Trevor's got the better weapons, but Bryce has got better coaching. So both of those could change in the offseason. It's kind of a toss-up to me. I definitely would rather have Baker, Purdy, Goff, Kyler, Bo Nix.
To let me say, I also would have taken all those quarterbacks ahead of Bryce.
Okay, right on.
So I got left with Bryce. He was the last one in my tier, which, I'm not upset getting Bryce. I probably should have gone in round 5 to Tua. That probably what I should have done. But yeah, I just can't roster him.
But you took Waddle instead. So like, if Tua's hurt, then Waddle's out too, basically.
Yeah, but I can't roster Tua. I just can't do it. At value, I just can't do it. It's too scary for me.
Okay. What else do we think in this round? Does anybody think that Olave could be like a breakout of this round?
You're saying the bad pick, or are you saying he could
be
good, higher?
Of course,
absolutely,
of course he can.
Yeah.
I mean, we could
be season.
Yeah, we could be back to drafting him in the second or third round come next year. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's the injury scares.
Quarterback playing the injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a huge value to me. I don't know. Yeah, most of this is quarterbacks. I mean, James Cook in the 4th round is nice, I guess.
Yeah, and it being Dallas's 3rd running back was interesting to me. But I guess, again, kind of like how Mike said, just taking what he felt was valuable.
Right. I mean, that's what I did. Do you guys have a problem with Bucky there?
No, not at all. I would have taken him above almost half the running backs that went, so not at all.
Oh, that's right. You had him at 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it was tough for me not to take Bucky. Even the round before, but I mean, it's just the way I saw the draft going. I thought it was safer going with the players I went with, but I really, really like Bucky in that range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mid-5th is awesome for a guy that you could make an argument for. It could be RB3 or 4 coming into the season in Dynasty.
Really? I don't think so. That's a little high.
I mean, you're low on Brees, so if it's not the top 3 young guys, there's no reason. If he doesn't get any competition, he's going to be in that range. for
He has,
Dynasty starts.
well, I mean, he has 2 other backs on the roster with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Hey, careful how you talk about my man Sean Tucker.
Yeah, the third best one on the team.
No, second. I'll give you Bucky's.
We'll do round 5 now instead of getting into Sean Tucker.
Oh, come on, man.
So 5-1 was J.J. McCarthy. 5-2, I took Jalen Waddle. 5-3 was Jesse's son, Tua. 5-4 was Rome. 5-5 was Anthony Richardson. 5-6, Michael Penix from Chad. 5-7, Jesse took T. Higgins. 5-8, Christian McCaffrey. 5-9, Brandon Ayuk. 5-10, Sam Darnold. 5-11, Derrick Henry. And to finish the round, 5-12, Mike took Devonta Smith. This is a pretty wild round, to be honest. It's there's a lot of weird names in here.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy went really high.
Oh, I like that was even what I was talking about.
Okay.
I don't like A-Rich at all.
Yep.
And I don't want him anywhere.
That's the first one.
And I would take Penix before him 10 out of 10
Wow.
times.
All 3 of those names we just said I would not have taken in this round, but that's me. I'd have taken Darnold above all of those guys.
Why?
Why?
Did you not?
Because he just had a 4,200-yard, 35 touchdown season.
But we don't even know if he's playing for the team.
Like if he goes to the
That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
But we don't know if JJ McCarthy is playing for that team.
We
either.
just saw, and I'm not talking about JJ McCarthy. I'm talking about we just saw a player in Sam Darnold perform for the first time in his career after being on 3 different NFL teams where he's failed. And now you want to risk him going to another NFL team who's probably going to be bad because they've been without a quarterback?
Probably, but maybe. But he could stay there.
Or
he's not staying in Minnesota.
Or he's probably not going to stay in Minnesota. Or do you want the guy in Michael Penix who's a top 10 NFL pick and who a team is committed to and has the weapons that Atlanta has there?
Yeah. And already benched their vet for him.
Yeah, it's the way he looked.
He's
just
a rookie
erratic as hell.
Jesse, he's a
played
rookie
what,
quarterback.
2-3 games?
Yeah, 3 games.
So high for me. Can we move on to A-Rich? I agree that absolutely don't want him at all. I don't want any parts of him.
No, I'm done with that, Rich.
And just
value.
But Penix is complete speculation. I mean, it's so,
that's what you're paying
rookies
for in
are.
this round, Jesse. At
I think
5'6",
T. Higgins is pretty safe in this round.
Is he? What if he goes to the
Where's
Raiders?
he going?
I don't think.
Well, then he's going to have Sam Darnold throwing him the football. So
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be wide
Nice.
receiver 1 at Jesse's size.
it's
Devontae
not.
Adams will go back there.
But Jesse, you're treating like in a vacuum. It's T. Higgins or Michael Penix, right? We're in round 5. It's no longer this player versus this player. It's this player at quarterback versus who else is on the board versus this player at wide receiver. Who do I have at wide receiver? Who else is left on the board? Right?
Understood.
So, do I want Michael Penix when all I have is Brock Purdy and I have 3 pretty much stud wide receivers? Should I just load up on on T. Higgins and take another guy with a little bit of risk there with him, or do I just go ahead and take a swing on a quarterback? Michael Penix is the perfect round 5, round 6 candidate.
I'd have been if I were you, I'd have been very upset that Tua just went in front of me.
Hell no. I would have took Michael Penix ahead of Tua.
That's blasphemous.
My man.
That is blasphemous right there.
I mean,
I
would
mean,
trade T. Higgins for Michael Penix
You're bordering
in
on
a super flex
heresy.
league.
What?
No problem. Absolutely.
What
I would trade T. Higgins for Michael Penix in a super flex league right now. So what's the issue of him going in front of him?
I don't know that I would do that. No, I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would do that. No.
Sorry, Jacob. I appreciate the comment, but he's saying Derrick Henry being a great value. I could not disagree more with the names that are there still.
I think Derrick Henry is kind of a.
Yeah, that's.
I don't like.
You
that
still
pick.
have some. Just
With
quickly
Devontae-
looking, there's still 5 running backs that I would easily take ahead of Derrick Henry
Yes, and Devontae Smith and DK going right after that.
and
I
Rashee
think-
Rice.
I think Derrick Henry's
that's-
probably 2.5 rounds too early, maybe a round and a half too early.
I agree totally.
Personally,
I do think you could do the same thing next year, but we're talking
yeah.
one, maybe 2 years.
The only thing about taking Derrick Henry in the 5th round is the guy that you could have had, number one, right? Derrick Henry or Devonta Smith. Let's just throw that one out there, right? Because Devonta Smith was the guy that went after him. And then you could say, yeah, Derrick Henry is, even if you believe Derrick Henry is a 100% a stud next year, let's just pretend for sake of argument that he is. Who's to say that you could use that, right? Who's to say that you could get fair value in season for it, right? When and everybody else believes that he's going to do that the year after, or they're just going to pay you for his production for that number of weeks that he's given you, right? So in a startup, it's always risky because you don't know if your roster is a competitor or not yet.
Yep.
You still have to find that out.
Yeah, especially in round 5, you definitely don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea how it's going to go. Now, like I said, round 9, sure, by then you better know if you're a contender or not, whatever it may be, and you want to take that vet guy. Oh, go for it, of course. But as a top 60 player to me, Derrick Henry, that's crazy.
Yeah, if we're like if I've got a championship roster, right, and I've got Derrick Henry on my team, yeah, he's worth that to me, right? Like if we're in season and he's doing Derrick Henry things, he's worth that to me. I'm not trading him for Devonta Smith. I need the points. I need to win this championship.
Yeah.
But if we're in a startup draft and I don't know if my team is a competitor or not, I don't know what my team is yet. That's not a move I'm willing to make. I'm not willing to make that gamble on the player and on my team overall.
Yeah.
Austin, for what it's worth,
Sir.
T. Higgins is slightly above Penix in KTC.
Cool.
It's very close though.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean,
It's
I
within-
think they're right where they should be. I have
Within
no problem.
250 points or so.
Yeah.
Other players that I struggled with not taking here, like I considered Rome, Waddle, and
You didn't?
CMC when I took my Bucky Irving pick, actually.
Oh, okay.
I considered them. I mean, again, I kind of thought the same. In a way, I thought what Chad was just saying, like, all right, if I already have Barkley, if I take CMC, I'm pot committed. I didn't really want to go that direction with my team. I wanted to give myself some flexibility. So I took a younger running back. But yeah, I considered Rome as well. I think that's really good value.
Me too. He was
in
the
that round.
name that I was trying to decide between with him and Waddle. And I kind of want to give my reasoning with Waddle.
Sure.
One,
I considered him too.
I'm assuming Tyreek is leaving.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that he's going to take over that one role, which we saw him be a wide receiver 1 twice doing that. So I felt like at the 5th round as my wide receiver 2, just turned 26, I should be able to get 2 to 3 safe years of hopefully low end wide receiver 1 production. It just feels with what's been going on with Tyreek, I'm assuming he's gone. So
Yeah.
I
I
actually
agree.
thought about Waddle at 4-1. So, but
cool.
Nice.
yeah.
All right. Anything else in that round?
Nah,
Ayuk.
I don't have a problem with it. I would have preferred Rashee Rice and Devonta over him.
And
but
DK.
no.
For me.
Rashee Rice and Devonta were really the only 2 names that, and probably DJ Moore. But other than
I was
that,
considering DJ Moore at the same time as T.
other than that, I don't have a problem. I still believe in the talent. That's similar. I'm assuming one of the pass catchers in San Francisco leaves this offseason, and it's not going to be Ayuk, considering they just paid him $120 million.
Why is everybody down on DK?
He didn't look as good as he has in his past. He's getting older. He's going to be 28 this year, or if he's not already 28. That type of player is, if he's not going to be force-fed targets like Mike Evans, then he's not going to get you a ton in fantasy.
So much of his game is physical, which is scary. Well, for a wide receiver coming on year 28, it's a little bit of a scary proposition. But I mean, I really like him. I really like him there, if not a little bit earlier. But yeah, he's just an aging guy in an offense that has some question marks too.
Yeah.
God, you guys are so against these 27, 28-year-old receivers.
No, it's not
I-
about the age. It's not about the age. It's about the entirety, the package, right?
Hmm.
Like there's another really talented player on the team, right? And there's going to be changes coming up in that offense pretty soon. So
Yeah, I see him as a uniquely talented player that has performed like a wide receiver one in the past and still has all of that talent. And I think it's a good thing that there's a new offensive coordinator coming in, because clearly the past one didn't prioritize him.
Do you know the last time he was a wide receiver one?
It's been a few years.
2020, 5 seasons ago.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, going on 28, I don't see that improving. Like I said, aside from him being
Okay,
forcing the
but
targets.
doesn't he have like some 14 and 15 finishes in there?
The year after the top 12 was 14 and 16, and then it's been 22 or worse the last 3 years.
With injuries.
Okay,
With
well,
missed
then
games.
those count too, unfortunately.
Okay, but like with missed games.
it's not just about, hey, do I believe in the player, right? Like, do I think this guy is a talented player? DK is obviously a talented player. It's also take into account that he's at the stage where he can't afford another season like he had this season, or not him, but we can't afford another season like he had this season. If he does have that kind of season again this year, his value's done. It's absolutely over.
Yeah.
So it's about the risk versus the reward, right? Do I think DK is capable of another, 15, 16 year? But I think a lot of other guys are capable of that 15, 16 year and are a little bit less risky than he is. So
Okay.
that's just how I see it.
So the listeners are tracking. So I took DK at 6'1", and then Pittman went at 6'2", Rice at 6'3", Hawk at 6'4", Jamison Williams 6'5", DJ Moore 6'6", Kenneth Walker 6'7", Chase Brown 6'8", Worthy 6'9", Mixon 6'10", Austin Wednesday Flowers at 6'11", and Mark Andrews at 6'12". And I gotta be honest, I was going back and forth between Metcalf, Rice, and Flowers, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and I had DJ Moore in that mix as well.
Yeah.
Those 4 players for me. I was really hoping I would get Rice, actually.
Yeah. Rice at 6 was at 3 feels great. Obviously, you're going to have to deal with whatever suspension comes, but after that, I mean, he's going to be a guy that's in that top 36 pick probably come March, to be honest, when we actually do startups. People don't care about points at that point. They'll live with the 4 to 6 game suspension and have him as their wide receiver one when that comes.
I think Hawk is a steal in this round. I straight up would rather have Hawk than Laporta.
Yeah, I would assume you're in the minority considering everybody skipped over him for 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's fine value. I mean, he was the tight end 4 off the board in the 6th. Tight end 5 off the board in the 6th. That sounds about right. And a 0.5 premium.
Yeah.
I think it's a steal.
If he went in round 5, I wouldn't have blinked twice. Like early round 5. I wouldn't have,
yeah, that's fair. It's a fair statement.
But it's just question marks, right? Like there's the biggest thing you can change in an offense is probably going to change in that offense, which is the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
Kenneth Walker in the 6th felt great. That felt like a steal in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was my favorite pick that I made in the draft, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be there.
That was pretty late. Yeah, I was surprised he was there when you took him.
Yeah, that was a really good pick. I was really happy with Zay Flowers at the end of the 6th.
Yeah, it was a good pick.
I thought I would have expected him to be in that 5th round with the other names we've mentioned. But yeah, it was a good round. This is where it starts getting really fun in startups, where you get your guys and you get to take them early or late, whatever it may be. And
yeah, a little high for
the fun
Worthy
part.
for me. Mixon as well. I wouldn't have taken him there, but
I can get behind that. He's so good. It's just such a scorer, and he's only 28. So it just turned it. So he'll be 28 this coming season.
mm-hmm.
As a RB1 in round 5, was it 6? Round 6. It's fine.
He's only 28. I guess I thought he was older. He's
And
just been around.
Just turned it as well.
He's been around for so long. I remember him in college too. I guess that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, he had a really early breakout.
Yeah. Andrews at the end of that round. Anybody have a problem with that?
Nope, that'd have been the next name off for me.
No.
I don't have an issue with that. It feels pretty good getting your tight end 1 in round 6 that you still can think can be a top 5 guy every year.
Right on.
We want to name any other picks. We're not going to go round by round the rest of this time. Just any other picks y'all really liked, you couldn't stand, anything like that.
No.
Hubbard going before Tyreek is one that kind of blows my
yeah,
mind. Chuba.
Chuba's gonna.
I was going to
smash
take
next
him.
year.
Yeah.
I wanted him, but I should have known the guy at 12 is a Panthers fan as well. I knew I wasn't going to get him, so I messed up there. But
he's gonna smash next year.
Absolutely.
And possibly for years after that as well. You know, unfortunately for the Panthers and for that young man, Brooks may never be a thing.
Yeah, quite possible. And also, I love the Tracy pick.
Yeah, Tracy
the
was a good
7th as well. That was back-to-back killer picks from Chad to get his RB room solidified for, should be hopefully 3+ years.
Honestly, those next 3 picks are probably my favorite stretch in the draft there, with Kenneth Walker at 6'7", Tyrone Tracy at 7'6", and then Tucker Kraft following up the back there at 8'7".
I completely missed Kraft being on the board because I had to scroll down so far and I was at work and I was busy, or I would have taken him. As it stands, I really like ATN in the
eighth is
round.
crazy.
That's really too far.
Yeah,
that guy to fall.
that's too far. Yeah, I agree.
He's a good back. I don't care what it looked like this year. He's a good back, and I assume whoever comes in there is going to use him as a receiver like he should be.
Yeah.
And
let Ben Johnson choose to go to the Jags, and he is going to fly up the board.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's just another one of those like risk versus reward things where some people just view it one way, where he can't afford another year like this, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know what he's capable of, right? He's coming off of a RB top 5 RB season.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was 2 or 3.
Yeah. So I mean, we know what he's capable of. He just, I mean, it's going to kill a running back to have 2 seasons like this in a row. Yeah. So if for whatever reason, with the question marks that are there in Jacksonville, if this anomaly does happen again and it's not an anomaly, then you've lost everything on him.
Yeah. And honestly, I like all of the tight ends in this range, in this 7th, 8th, 9th round. Any tight end that you take here, any of these tight ends are good. Like, it's a good value pick to me. Is if you didn't get one of the top guys, it's the right time to wait.
On ETN, this will be a contract year, assuming they don't re-sign him this offseason. So we know how players like to play on contract years, unless you're Deontay Johnson. Otherwise, you like to play really hard.
The Ravens picked him back up?
Yeah, they did it to get a comp pick.
Yeah, just to get their pick back, basically.
They'll get a 6th back, which is pretty much what they sent.
And it does also
I was so confused.
It also does screw him over. He's not allowed to play until after the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, pretty much any other team could have picked him up and he could play. But
does he get a Super Bowl ring? If they wouldn't.
I guess technically he would.
I mean, technically, I don't know. They're going to have to play Philly either way, so no.
I actually really like the J.K. Dobbins pick at 9.5, which may surprise some
people.
people.
Wow, that surprises me. Hold on, let me hear this.
I just think it's in this range. I think it's well worth it. You know, you're looking at a guy that's, you know, capable of giving you some really high upside, rivaling some of the backs that were taken, you know, 3-4 rounds earlier. But at the same time, if you lose out on him in around the 9th, 10th round, then so be it, right? So I really like this range for him.
Mike, what are you doing?
Sorry, I was looking to see who was left at running back, and I don't like anybody on here more than J.K. Dobbins, anyways. I don't hate it. We got Rashad White, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Ramondre Stevenson, Javonte Williams, Amir White. I'll take Dobbins over that.
Yeah, I mean, before he went down, he's better than every back was taken, you know, in the last 4 rounds, basically. So, I mean,
I like to hear. Welcome back, Chad.
I mean, it's just about the injuries,
Welcome
right?
back.
It's just about the injuries. So this is the range where you're saying, okay, I can take a flyer on a guy like this, or I'm excited to take a flyer on a guy like this. And if he works out, I mean, that's league winning stuff,
Yep,
right?
It's RB1. That's what he is.
Yeah, exactly. And if it doesn't work out, you mess your 10th round up. So did probably 7 other guys, right?
Yep.
Can we talk about Spears versus Pollard? They went within 3 picks of each other.
Yeah.
Spears actually went before Pollard.
One's what, 22? One's 28. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting called a liar. 23 for Spears.
23.
Excuse me. I'm a double liar. Look at me. 27 for Pollard. Yeah, I'm just gonna quit talking. Anybody else?
I just it's aggressive to take Spears there, in my opinion. Do you think he's going to take that job next year?
I thought he looked like the better running back when both were healthy.
Yeah.
Spears struggled early in the season to get healthy.
Mhm.
And then once he started getting his touches, he's just so electric, man. I mean, he is so electric. So I do think that Pollard's going to come in the season as the one most likely, but I'll take my chances on betting that we're going to see a 28-year-old running back get hurt more than they're not. And I'll take that. I took him early. I know. I was planning on going back with a vet guy here as my actual RB2 the next round. Just somebody I could plug and play it to. But I hate running backs, so I'll figure it out at some point.
All right. I completely lost track of time.
Yep. We've done it.
Did it. Perfect.
All right. Before we go, I want to hear from you guys. What is the last good thing that you watched on TV? Or whatever. On YouTube or whatever the kids do.
I got you. Duke absolutely dominating Miami in basketball.
No. Okay.
Oh my gosh, they look so good. It was so fun to watch.
Okay. Right on. How about you, Mike?
I'm trying to think. Get back to me.
Chad?
I haven't watched anything lately.
I've actually been watching not for everybody, but I actually been watching and trying to get into a little bit more anime and stuff. Some of my coworkers are big anime fans, so they've been recommending some stuff. And I watched this show called Solo Leveling, which is really, really fun to watch. So, yeah, check it out if you're into that kind of stuff.
Solo Leveling.
Yeah,
cool.
Before we recorded, the wife and I just watched the Netflix documentary on the Jerry Springer Show, and it is amazing. So good. Highly recommended. It's 2 parts, so you get 2 hours of fun. I had forgotten that Jerry Springer passed away, so rest in peace. He actually seemed like a good guy. Doing the devil's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remembered I've been watching the Office Superfan episodes. New season came out last week or the week before.
What is that?
It's basically super extended Office episodes.
It's like 10 minutes.
Almost 10 minutes of extra.
Oh, I did hear about
extra
that.
scenes that aren't in there. So they're on
where's
Peacock.
that? Peacock?
They're on Peacock. And then I also caught up on Marvel What If. I've been falling behind on Marvel and a lot of the shows I usually like, but I watched What If at the end of the holidays. So that's a fun little cartoon show.
Yeah, it was a good show. Yeah, it led into one of the movies, didn't it?
There were some things from it I think that did, but
yeah,
I don't know. Curious to see where it goes.
I've lost track badly of Marvel
stuff
as well.
Yeah, me too. So
I tell you, the thing I liked most about Marvel in the last few years was Moon Knight. Did any of you guys watch that?
Yeah.
I was hoping they'd make another season of that. I thought it was different anyway. All right, guys. Anything else?
That's all, sir.
That's it. We're good.
All right. It's been the front office.
Peace.
Later.